Good morning. Thank you for joining me. As you can see, I'm back to stitching today. I'm going to do some slow stitching, and this is a total experiment. I have an idea in my mind about where we're going. I want to make some hand stitching to use as part of clusters. And while I was digging around, I found this piece of white fabric from Cloth World. It's not so much not so nothing. It's just lightweight fabric. As you can see, if you can see, maybe you can't see and I shouldn't tell on myself, but I bought a new little mini iron and haven't gotten around to reading the directions yet, so into this frame went the fabric, and I made sure it was pulled good and tight. I haven't used this kind of fabric in many years, but I know that many of you do, and so I thought it was only fair that I give it a try myself. It's been a while, and to be honest, I can't wait to see what happens. Probably the same good things that happen to you. Regular sewing thread, and I found these. I don't know what little drawer they were piled in, but at one point, before you know what, I must have done this. And it seems as though it's the same fabric. Maybe not quite as, this is a little bit tighter woven, this is a little bit better quality fabric than this, but I did these. I like the printing on that one better. I did there. Like that one. Well, this one should be wonderful, but it's not quite wonderful enough. But we have quite a pile here to go through. So, this is a maybe. Well, decisions, will they never end? That's a little much. That one is the best. Let's leave it there. No. These certainly work wonders on other clusters that we weren't using to embellish with stitchery. I'm not going to get happy with this. I'm not now, and I'm not going to be. There we go. What's this one? I like the number of leaves on there, size-wise compared to this. Which one do we like best? This one. Have that already. Okay, let's go faster now, Carol. We're not going to examine every one of them, although they were diamonds that we were picking for a ring. Let's see. Okay, that looks like the selection. That one's not half bad. I can see that. Let's go this way. We might have some pearls under here. See, no. No. this one has some possibilities. I know this looks like something crazy, but in my mind, you'll see. Okay. Stamps on white fabric. Now this fabric is not as good quality as this. You can see the number of stitches per inch are more in that one. That's why this is a little flimsy, but not bad. Not bad for what we're going to use it for. Okay, out of the pool. Now, well, we have nothing until we do some cropping here. We're going to leave that much-ish around the edge. And we're not doing this as though it were rocket science, because it isn't. There. That might work. Let's see about this one. There. We're doing some relaxed fussy cutting here. Or should I say not so fussy? I don't know why that is there, but we'll leave it for the time being. Remember, always the trick, whether it's paper or fabric, the trick is to try to remember not to move the scissors. You move the thing that's being cut, the paper or the fabric. Let's see what happens here, because these have some of these tendrils hanging. I'm going to turn that 180-ish. Everything on this planet, in my little place of joy, is ish. It's a little thick. Let's trim that a little closer. These have been my fabric shears for so long, and they're all of a sudden not cooperating the way they used to. Or maybe it's my thumb on the right hand is saying, face up to it, girl. You exercise your hands, they would be a lot worse, so hush. Okay, there we have it. There we have the concept of what's in my mind. Now, I'm going to do this one first, and my area for this cluster, the piece, the finished piece, will be about out here like this. That's my area of work. So that would be hypothetically where I will use as the working area when I finally cut it out to make it a slow stitch piece to add on to use as a cluster. Okay. Do I need one of these? I don't think so, but we'll see. Okay, now let's get to it. Now we need to find a needle that has a good point, a no kidding around point. And the way I check for that is I stick it a little bit here. Oh yeah, that's very good. However, that would require my other needle threader. Okay, just going to do it. Why didn't I leave it? Why didn't I leave it? Okay. Now I'm going to attach this piece of stamped fabric to the fabric in the hoop with a not so special. I'm going to go around twice to give it a good lumpy knot. And I'm going to attach this piece down at the outline of the piece. I'm going to ignore the cut edge, and I'm going to ignore the marks we made. Now I know that this probably looks like a figment of my imagination right now, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to make this bit disappear as much as I can, although this is going to be stitched. No matter what I do, I try to do it with my best intentions. So it's one side and the other. So that anything that I do in this space, because the purple ink, which is already fast disappearing, is going to be the outside edge. And if it wants to fast disappear on me, this fast, I'll just go over it with a pencil, because it's going to be gone or cut off. You never can tell. I'll let you really get, you've gotten it from far away. Now let's look at it up close. And I don't think that's going to move anymore, so we can remove this and just hold it with a finger. From outside to in. Now we're going to treat these a little bit differently. I won't be quite so fanatical about this as I get more into the groove, so to speak. This is totally from my head, the way I see it. There's nothing to do with reality at this point. I'll show you the back side. You see the stitches along there? Okay. You can get out of my way. I can see why you use these round, lightweight puppies, as long as you can control the tension pretty well. Now, there would have been no reason that I can think of that you might not have put this on if you had cut it right around right close to the edge, that you might have used a good quality glue and waited for it to dry. All right, I'm going to stop now and finish up the outline, and I'll be back. I'll do my housekeeping, and I'll be back. Well, I'm back to share. I have learned a few things along the way, that sometimes it's easier to do that little tacking stitch going from the inside out. I had started, if you will remember, doing them from the outside in, and sometimes it was harder to control this piece of fabric. So I started doing them the other way, from the outside in, and it worked. It would work more easily in many cases. Then I also decided that I really liked this outline that I had put down, and it's fast disappearing, as you can see. They're not kidding when they say disappearing, and I think it's because of all the light I'm surrounded with here. So, I am doing a backstitch, and if you'll notice, I'm doing a stab stitch. And the reason I'm doing a stab stitch is because if I went like this, I would be pulling this fine fabric too much as far as I'm concerned. As I said, this fabric, this is going to be used on clusters. And even though it's going to be used on clusters, we don't want it to be all rippled and messed up looking. So if I can keep this fabric as flat as possible without pushing my big thumb on it too much, and I can pull it when I need to through the hoop, and stab stitching in a hoop is more sense than to try to do it in the sewing stitch mode. So I'm counteracting the loss of this invisible doings that we have here. And I decided, excuse me, I decided not to use a pencil because this is white fabric, and if I got any of that pencil on my hand, I'd have it all over the place, including in the piece we were working on, and I just am not interested in doing that right now. This goes, as you can see, extremely quickly. Go back, and if you keep the length of thread on the outside and go back into the line between the stitches. Yes. If you go back to be back to the starting point rather quickly, I again will turn this off because I don't know what the note was that my husband just passed me. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm coming around to where I began, and then we're going to pick some colors. And of course, if any of this is showing in the end, we're going to just snitch it out because there are only two knots, and they're very easy to see. There we are. Done. Now let me show you a trick. This is not permanent, this is just basting. So we're going to go under these stitches that we have here from right to left, and it's going to be tucked under those stitches. And then we can go back under a few from left to right, or vice versa. And we can go on to whatever. Now, that is tight enough because that is basting. That's gone. Well, we have some progress today. I just think a two shades, very pale blue, just blue. I just don't know why I want blue. Today is a day for blue, so let's go to blue. Okay, get this out of the way. And I realized, why didn't I put on my magnifiers? And oh my, let there be light. Now, okay. I don't want any really artificial looking colors. The shades are going to have to be fairly close. Let's see what's calling me here. I keep coming to this one for the light color. 747. Keep coming to that one. What would I want with it? If I choose this one, it's not really a blue rose. However, the light and dark is not shouting at each other. And the things that I put around the outside could be pretty nifty. Okay, let's take that as a possible. Come on. Oh my goodness, this is another old Roddy rubber band. Now, let's just try these two. Let's lay them out here. Okay. Maybe they're too close. Oh, my. Rachel, you're right. Decisions are the worst. I like that one. Oh, that's an old one. You can see by the labels. Whoa, that's old. Probably as old as I am, and that's old. Let's try that. What would we have to go with it? We have to have something to go with it that's light. Oh, here's another oldie. Don't want that. Oh, goodness. Could use a very fine pearl. For the dark color. But yes, I know it would be better if I had these. See, that's a completely artificial color. I don't know what it's doing in there. But it's not the inner Carol. Another oldie. And I say old, I probably mean 50 years. I think we're liable to be bluish. I need a little hydration. Well, I know you don't need to sit and watch me do this. I'll be back. All right, I found my pair. I'm going to split, and I think I'm going to use 3. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to use 3 strands for the dark, and 2 for the light. There's 2. And 1 more, and I'm going to cut this in half. It's as tall as I am. Okay. There's our 3. And here we go. Interesting to see if the 3 is going to fit nicely into that needle, because I'm getting rather tuned to it, because it has a nice sharp point. Okay. Now, this down. Oh, no, this is not allowed. Thank you. My goodness. Just my goodness. It's still actually too long, but the needlepoint police are not, or the stitchery police are not coming to my door. Okay, over here, out of harm's way. Now, fingers crossed. Ah, yay. Oh, that's beautiful. Knot on the end. Now these two are seriously in the back, so they would be dark as they are in the as they are here. Go. Pull the strands flat as I can. Oh, I love that sound of, you don't get that sound in needlepoint. I love that sound of thread going through fabric. I know. Craziness is Carol. This little narrow, tiny bit here is it's not as easy as the rest of it is going to be, because we're just doing a satin stitch. Getting out of this little corner we've got ourselves sewn into here. To be as close to that as we can be. There we go. Now we're getting into the thicker bits here. Good. So that I have a little more control. That's the value of these round hoops. You can really find the control more easily than having a wide piece of wood in your hand. Yes, that was a sigh. Now, I'm not going to, this little bit of lightness that they've got there is going to get stitched right over. I mean, really, Carol is not quite that crazy, although I know you have a question about that. Feel myself getting lunch hungry. I'd like to get this done so that you get an idea about where we're going. Now this space between the edge of the flower and this outside is going to have goodies in there. Maybe some French nuts, maybe some leaves. There we go. And as you can see, it is starting to look like satin stitch. Well, you set this first stitch. The stitch that comes up is where your the shape of your flower comes from. Now you see there's a little tiny little bit of white, of light color there, not happening. I'm going to make that go away. I'm going to satin stitch right over it. Finding the downside is always easier. Oh yes, okay, let's get got a little carried away on that outside this time. Let's get that out where it's supposed to be. That's more like it. And as you get used to, I'm having new experience, totally new experience, because it's got to be since I was a teenager that I used one of these hoops and used my fingers for tension and all of the other things that go through using them. But I will have learned something new, and it is that also if I had used better fabric. I mean, I'm not using fabric as an excuse, but this is, in my mind, these are going to be parts of clusters. Nothing to do probably with the cover of a journal or anything else of that nature. Come on. Let's get at it. Well, I do believe I'm starting to see this look like a petal, an outside bottom petal which would be darker. All of this stuff is just going to be easy peasy in comparison to this, because these really stand out. What's going on now? We won't have this. Thank you. Okay, don't do that again. And yes, I'm talking to thread. I'm trying my best to keep the strands laying next to themselves so that it will really look like satin stitch. And I think I'm going to put one more there, and it's going to be mission accomplished. Yes. And this is just made for ending a thread. 2, 3. Well, I do hope that you have seen where we might be going. All the dark spots are going to be so much easier. The light ones are larger, of course, because a flower is by nature lighter. So I'm going to start in the center and do some darks till I get tired of it and I want to change, and then I'll go and do some lights, and you will of course notice that they're going to go much easier. You would, if you had it in your hands, it would go much easier because there's a lot less of it. Sorry, I should have been looking up at my screen. But the learning experience for me today, which I'm sharing with you, was going back to using this sort of frame. Fabric, which was not my antique fabric or my stash, but fabric which is certainly a nice quality from Joann Fabrics. And these that I made ages ago, which is of course stamping on a white fabric, which is not quite the quality of this one. And the red, this is stitched down, the flower is stitched down, the outline is not stitched because I'm going to be going over it with some stitches, some leaves, whatever, French knots, etc. And this is it's going to be the cut outline. I do hope that you have enjoyed today's change of scene, and we will be doing more stitching on this until we get at least one of them finished, so that you will have the idea. And if you have enjoyed today's stitch in with me, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and I would appreciate your subscribing to my channel. Bye now.